Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the morning call. Okay, so today I want to talk about schedule, but I want everyone to remember the goal. So I think everyone, even if you are just starting, or you've never listed your first item, or you've been doing this for a while, and you have 5 sales a day or 3 sales a day, I want everyone to set the goal at $100,000 a year. You don't have to. You don't have to earn $100,000 a year or do all the things required, but I want everyone in this group to at least know how. You at least know how to do it. If you choose to do a smaller amount, that's okay. If you want to do more or less, completely fine. But how do you make $100,000 a year? I want to give you guys the basic blueprint on today's call, and then I want to talk about schedule. So all the rage in our group the last couple of weeks has been talking about $20 profit, meaning you go out, find an item. After all is said and done, you have a $20 profit. Everyone can really understand what a $20 bill is. And if you were to find 13 of those per day, you go out into the wild, find 13 $20 bills. You will now have 6 figures in your bank account at the end of the year. You owe tax on it, but at least you made 100,000 and you know how. So today the question is, what does your schedule look like? Right? Let's build a schedule together. And those of you that are asking me to do that, just come to the morning call Monday through Friday and tell me all the things that you have to do. Your kids, all your obligations. Are you responsible for cleaning your home? Do you have obligations to help aging parents? Do you volunteer? Do you have a full-time job? I need to know all of that detail. We'll make a schedule for you. And everyone's circumstances are different, so one schedule will not work for everyone. Once you have that, at least you will know this is how me personally I can make $100,000 a year reselling it. Effort sold separately, but at least you know how. So Franklin, do you want to kick us off this morning? What is your day? What does your day look like? Are you already making $100,000 a year profit? What do you need to do different? Hopefully you can chat this morning.
Yeah, I am definitely not making $100,000 profit.
Okay.
What I need to do differently is definitely consistency.
Okay.
I'm getting pretty good at being consistent on at least showing up to work every morning on
Okay.
time. But as far as a consistent number of listings, it's like I'll do 50 one day, then one day I'll just take photos, and one day maybe I'll do 20, then one day I'll do 100. I'm just
Got
kind
it.
of bouncing around a lot. But for me personally, lately I've been super focused on health stuff, because if you don't have your health in order, then you can't
Can't
really
do
run
any of
a
this.
business. Yeah, and I've just been whatever personal family stuff. I've been around the hospital a lot lately, so yeah, I'm super focused on health. Um, but yeah, so this morning I went to my first day in my new gym membership on the way to work.
I love
It's
it.
nice, but yeah, that's what I'm working on. But generally I come in at my goal is to be here by 7 at
Okay.
the latest, and and another thing, I've I've
Let me
just kind
back
of
up. Let me
do
back
what?
up for a second. Let me back up for a
Oh,
second. Sorry to interrupt
yeah, yeah,
you.
yeah,
You want to go to the gym before getting there at 7?
yeah.
Okay. So wake up, ideally, go to the gym, get to work at 7, and then what?
And then start listing basically and answer messages. Get my shipments ready, just list until I have to go to the post office, and then I come back and work more in the evening.
Do you have a way that you do it, or is every day different?
Yeah, no, I have a way that I do it. I definitely have a rigid system in place as far as listing and everything.
Yep.
Because yeah, I have two listing stations set up. It's a pretty, I guess, straightforward system. I could do it on autopilot.
Then okay, then why how come sometimes you're inconsistent?
Uh, I guess sometimes I'm inconsistent because I do try to do some side projects sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes my schedule gets messed up, just for personal stuff that I'm kind of helping take care of a family member that had
Sure.
cancer and all this stuff. I don't, but
Yeah.
everybody's got some kind of issues in their life that they got to deal
Yeah.
with. But so that, that can mess with things, and there's nothing I can really do to,
No.
not have to do that.
Yeah.
So
So this is great. I think a lot of people can relate to this. You're doing so the reason why you're inconsistent is because you don't do the same thing every day. Sometimes you have side projects, right? So sometimes you have side projects that you cause. Sometimes there are side projects that happen from something else. And in this group, we talk about flexible schedule. So like something happens that messes up your day. When you're done with that, you just got to go back and continue to do the best you can on what you have. Of course, if you get to work at 7 and you're done by 9, that gives you a lot of opportunity to not have something happen the first 2 hours, because the basic goal, this is something to really think about right now. Everyone should maybe write this down. If you can do 300,000 in sales and you cherry pick every item, you'll most likely make $100,000 a year. Meaning you don't do any bulk buying. You just go to the store, buy items that are $20 bills at the thrift store, right? Most likely you're not going to be spending, if you know what you're doing, you're not going to be spending more than $12, right? We're hoping to keep it under 8. But if you're only finding $20 bills and you do 13 a day, your revenue is going to be like 300,000 a year. Of the 300, a third of it's going to be profit that you owe tax on. So in the example of, depending on what kind of items you sell, what kind of shipping costs there are, that's why you need to think about, do you sell priority? Do you sell first class? Do you need to make a box? Do you not need to make a box? All these things matter when building out your schedule. But I'm telling you guys right now, you have to have your eBay done in less than 4 hours a day, because there's not enough time. You have so many things that will come up that if it can come up, it will come up. So everybody has to get their eBay data under 4 hours a day, so you can have 12 hours a day to work on side projects. Franklin's day sounds like everybody's day. Like you just get interrupted by something, or you have a responsibility like taking care of a family member. The thing is, you also have a responsibility to your eBay store. You guys have chosen to take care of an eBay store. Like this eBay store is a living being. So Franklin, that sounds great. If you were to do that, wake up, go to the gym, go to work at 7, get your work done by 11, you would have enough time to deal with all the other stuff. You could do your side projects, but after you knock out your 100K goal.
Yeah, I mean, for me, in my mind, like the work is never done. So also kind of,
that's bad.
Like I will just keep working.
No,
Even if I have a set amount, let's say I can get a certain amount done by noon or whatever, and be content with that. But I will keep.
No, but the thing is, here's
pushing.
the question. You said that you're inconsistent, which means sometimes you don't.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I know. The extra credit is fine. You can work till midnight. I'm just saying, but first you have to be consistent.
But yeah, just one thing I want to add in. I made a huge decision that was hard for me. Took some emotional detachment from my business. I mean, I feel like you get emotionally attached at a certain point. You get caught up and you kind of forget the reason you started in the first place was to make money and not to just running the race every day. But so I got out of the CDs and DVDs and the vinyl records, and I'm just doing just books and magazines. And that was like a huge thing that I've been kind of holding on to. And for the, since I've joined the Patreon group, I mean, it's something I've kind of contemplated for a few weeks, but I was too attached to the idea of having those items in my store, having the CDs and DVDs, and I was super low ranked in those categories because mostly I'm listing books every day. And it had been probably 6 months since I listed any DVDs. And so that was just a big decision I made recently that was like, I'm proud of myself for being able to do that. And
Me too. I'm proud of everyone in the group taking the effort to be on this call, trying to better themselves, figure out a schedule. So Kelly in the chat's asking, how many items am I thinking we can do in 4 hours, including shipping? I would say 60 If you are photographing, listing, putting it away, but the way Franklin described it sounds like it would never happen because that's way too flimsy. Like that's like the way he described his day, I don't think you could be consistent. It would have to be, it has to be pretty exact. Like get to work, do all your customer service, photograph your items, list all those items you just photographed, put everything away, get ready, reset to zero, then go get ready to go thrifting. So the 13-a-day plan, you guys ready for the schedule? Get to work, do customer service, photograph 15 items, put 13 live, 2 in the draft bank, list 15 or list 13 items, draft 2 items, right? Reset to zero. It's now 8 o'clock if you're Franklin. Go to the gym, get to work at 7, list your 13 $20 profit items. You're done by 8. It's only 1 hour of listing. That's it. 1 hour of listing. Then you can spend 7 hours thrifting, and you only need to find one item per store and go to 2 stores per hour. That's it. 2 stores an hour. So go to 14 stores a day. Get one item. That's it. Franklin said he wasn't making 6 figures, right? But it only takes 1 hour to photograph, list, and put away 13 items. So that means from when you wake up and go to sleep is like 16 hours. That means Franklin's not even working 1 hour. It's so scattered that he's not even getting 1 hour of solid work done, because that's the part when you get to work and do it. So Palik says 2 stores an hour sounds insane. Depends on where you live. In some areas, like most of the time, thrift stores are grouped together, right? So you could drive 4 hours one way and then hit 4 or 5 that are in that area. Or maybe you have to drive 7 hours to a new city. And in that scenario, you'd want to go to somewhere where you could find 13 items in one store, right? Everyone here lives within 7 hours of a city. If you don't, maybe choose a different location or learn how to sell online. On Fridays, guys, we're doing the Bolo call. Last week, you guys didn't take my money, but whoever finds the best item, I will contribute, let's say $50. Let's make it fun. Whoever finds the best item and actually buys it, and it's a $20 profit item, I'm willing to contribute $50 on every Friday. Somebody can find me something interesting, because there's so many people in the group that source from home, but they're only picking up the best stuff. Buying bulk from home does not count. Yesterday, text said, where can you order? People were saying, where can you order online $20 profit items? Where is that? Anybody know?
eBay.
Never heard of that. Only on eBay, yeah. eBay is the only place where you can order $20 bills from home.
Yeah.
So Kelly, go ahead.
Could I just say one thing? Yeah. I just want to say though that I definitely get a minimum of 6 hours of work in a day, but I have the bulk media model. So when you really got to hit 60,000 listings for that to be doable. I mean, I sell some items $5.99 free shipping. So
how many media items can you list an hour?
In an hour, I would say 50. Yeah.
Okay, so that's solid, because the going rate in the media category per hour is around 60 items an hour.
Yeah. But my model's different than most people here.
You still only need to work 3 hours to make 6 figures in the media model. Are you listing 100?
You have to hit a certain threshold.
Are you listing 180 a day?
No, I'm not. That would be a goal. I mean, that would definitely be a goal.
But that's why you're not making 6 figures.
Yeah, I mean, and
because if you can list 50 an hour, you should be lit.
Yeah, it's like I can list 50 an hour, but I'm not spending every hour listing. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But you don't have to.
Yeah.
So Kelly is saying he needs kryptonite to list 13 an hour. I bet if you came here in person, right, in front of me, and I said list 13 items, you would do it in an hour. The 13 photos would take 13 minutes, unless for some reason you try and sabotage me, and in the middle of the 13 photos, you take 9 breaks. If you take no breaks, 13 items will take 13 minutes to take photographs. Then I'm going to stare at you when you're on your computer. It's not going to take you longer than, unless like all of the items are ridiculously different, which they're not. I'm not, No one lists 13 completely different items every day. They're at least similar in size. So it's going to only take you 1 hour. It's the breaks that kill people. I can't wait to do the event in June, the first week of Friday, when people come. Last time they just watched me list. This time I get to watch other people list. And I'm curious to see what happens. How are you taking this long to list when I haven't listed in over a year? I did 35 in an hour and a half, and I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I don't have a photo. I had to make a photo setup. I don't have a cleaning station. I don't have an inventory system. If I had all that, it would be so fast. So that's what we're learning in the group. I want to talk about this because 1 hour listing photograph. So the 15 I'm talking about, Kelly, includes shipping and putting it away and photographing everything in 1 hour, 7 hours of shopping. Carrie was disappointed earlier this week because she was only finding two items per store. Yo, 2 items per store is still 6 figures. I'm not going to be disappointed making $100,000 a year selling used garbage on the internet. Come on, guys. It's not disappointing. That's the biggest blessing ever. I was just telling Tech that from the garbage, I made $200 this month. I just look at the dumpster on the way into my shop. Selling stuff out of the dumpster, I made $200 this month. That's like significant. That really helps. It's like a lot of extra money. So I'm just thinking, you got to really focus. We all got to focus on our schedule because it's got to look similar every day. And if you can't meet your listing goal, your day is too complicated. Let's go with Jonathan. I haven't talked to you before, or have I? Can you chat? What are you working on? Where are you in your reselling process?
Wow, I'm from the UK, and
I love it.
and I'm actually brand new to eBay, so I've been watching your content on YouTube for a bit. Just a bit of background. So I'm brand new to eBay. I've been a regional sales manager. I've been involved in the sales world for a long time, and watching your content.
Yep.
I just feel a little bit stupid saying that I've joined your course, considering that I've only just started.
So I have a question. Do you know how to make 100,000 pounds a year as a regional salesperson?
Yeah.
So what does that entail?
A lot of hard work and organization. So I can see the system from listening to what you've been saying, the logics of absolutely how you do everything. It's me understanding the eBay concept and how it works on eBay.
Sure.
How I finesse that.
Sure. So on eBay, this is a great conversation because the title, the pictures, the item specifics, the price, your return policy, and your item selection, that's 90% of eBay. Because if you have the right items and they're listed correctly, you don't need any promotions or coupons or anything fancy to get sales. I was like triggered because somebody told me that being in sales is not related to selling on eBay. It's the same. Because when you're a regional salesperson, it's still your radius, how many people you talk to, how you're presenting the item. So
it's exactly the same.
It's exactly the same. So
so for me, I've got that goal to get to £100,000 per year. Obviously, I'm not going to be doing it in year one, but I see. And talking about thrift shops here in the UK, I was just listening that you were talking about you've got to go far. I'm blessed in the UK. I've got a street that's 5 minutes away from me that's got 15 thrift stores all on one street. And if I go another 20 minutes, there's more. I've already been thrifting. We call it secondhand shops in the UK, and bought some stock, but I don't want to be investing my money as it stands right now. I literally want to, there's things that I've got, and if I see some items, I might get it. But without me just going out and buying 20 items a day to list per day. I don't want to do that. I want to do it a bit slower so I learn the system more thoroughly.
Why did you say obviously you can't do it in under a year?
Perhaps try not to be so arrogant. Like my inside, maybe I would like to.
You can't. That's very intelligent of you because it's completely new to you.
Yeah.
It is the same system as being a regional sales director, but you need time to learn which items to buy. And you saying, I don't want to go out and buy 20 random items, that's great, because that's not how you would learn safely. You can do that, and especially since you have income, you can afford to buy 20 random items at the charity shop, but that's not the best way to learn. Learning is hard. You have to like sit down and think of your systems and, okay, why does this item sell? How much money am I actually making? And that makes me very happy that you're on the right path. And the podcast that you need to listen to at the beginning is called Advanced eBay. And that podcast talks about only using the profit to grow, because it forces you to think, and it forces you to go slowly. And you can definitely gross 100,000 pounds your first year, but not 100,000 profit. Thank you for sharing that. That's really great. I mean, you're right in the beginning. So Patik says they spend 2 hours each in each thrift store. So if you're in the store for 2 hours and you're looking for $30 profit items and you find 4 in 2 hours, I would consider yourself good enough to make 6 figures, which sounds crazy because Jonathan could go to that row of charity shops, and if he's finding 2 20-pound items per store and doing 2 per hour, that's only, he'll find the 13 items potentially. Actually, I can tell you for sure, he could find all 13 if he knew what to look for. It just takes time to figure out what to look for. Men's and women's sections is great. If you have the knowledge to do 2 different categories in the same thrift store, that's awesome, because men's and women's clothing, with the exception of like dresses, are listed the same way. Women's, like, it's, even though Tech and Sports is a men's clothing store, in lots of the female categories, he still ranks in the top 10, just because a women's jacket is the same way to list as a men's jacket. It's just that the title is different. So understanding the title structure is huge. If you spend more time per store, that means your stores are good. I can tell you here, there's probably 10 thrift stores that I could spend more than a couple of hours at, but that's only like 10% of the stores. And lots of the stores that I would go to, I'd only spend 5 minutes in. They're not big enough to support, like, there'd be 20 jackets total, 20 t-shirts total, 100 dress shirts total. Of the 100 dress shirts, it's likely 0 of them are $20 profit. You can look through it, right? But you're not going to necessarily find one. It's not that easy. Tech was saying with his Rolodex, he was only finding 1 item per 200. That's knowing everything. 1 item per 200. If you don't know, if you don't know anything, you might look through 1,000 and not find anything. So it takes time, but that was some wisdom there from the UK. If you've been doing something for a while, everything is pretty much the same. You just have to understand the mechanics, and then your schedule has to be pretty regimented. If you want to have extra time to take care of your family, get your workout in, take care of yourself. So let me ask everyone in the chat to rank 3 things. Let's rank your relationships 1 out of 10. Let's rank your business 1 out of 10. And let's rank your health 1 out of 10. I could tell you for sure, if any of those is below a 5, it'll interrupt the other ones. You can't do it. You have to have reasonable health, reasonable relationships to run a business. You can't, because like otherwise, if you been ignoring your wife for 10 years and she's about to divorce you, that is going to derail your business, bro. Right? If you're in charge of the house and you don't have a clean house, or you don't have the meals prepared, it's going to derail your business. You got to take care of all of it. There's no way to not do all of it. For me, like, I'll just share something. I know I am in a time in my life where sleep is going to be limited because I have a newborn and a 2-year-old, but I get anxiety knowing like I need to sleep right now. If I don't sleep right now, I'm going to be messed up tomorrow. That kind of messes me up. But recently I've been like just trying to not use my phone an hour before bed so I can really try to wind down. Otherwise, if you don't really think about how you sleep, how you eat, how you exercise, you can't do this either. If you go to a reseller event, most people are a 2 out of 10 in health because they've ignored their health while they're doing this. And that doesn't work. I can tell you for sure, you will eventually run out of gas. So got to think about improving all those every day. And if it's not in your schedule, then it doesn't matter to you. So if you say you want to spend time with your kids, but that's not on your schedule, news alert, you don't care about your kids that much. It's got to be on there. So that's why I want your schedule to make sense when you go there. Divorce can push your business up too. It depends on if your partner is dead weight or they're helping you be supportive. But I think love is an action. I think you can fix most relationships by putting effort into them. I think be yourself may be bad advice. Why don't you be somebody else who's more successful? That helped me a lot. Get an alter ego. Maybe you suck and can't get your listings done, but maybe Bob Sanchez, the guy that you made up, he doesn't have a problem doing his listings. Maybe Fiona List every day is your alter ego, and you just become that lady. Why don't you just do that? If right now the current version of you can't do it, let's pick somebody else. Yeah, and Annette says a reseller event has unhealthy looking people. Definitely. Because I mean, if you do it, for a lot of people, reselling is a sedentary thing. I actually think reselling is quite physical, to be honest. Like you have to go out and find things. You have to come home. It behooves you to be in better shape. This is a lot to do. It's really physical. The alter ego 100% works because in order to do something different, you have to be a different person. That's why the advice, trying to become a millionaire, trying to make $100,000 a year is not about the money. It's about the person you have to become to do that. Do you guys know any 100,000 a year people that don't have a schedule? I don't know a single person that accidentally makes 6 figures. Bro, that just does not work like that. People don't wake up and accidentally make $50 an hour. That's hard. $50 an hour means everything is ready. You get to work. Like we were talking about Franklin and the media call, like our media concept. 1 minute a listing is solid. If you're listing media and it's scanning 1 photo or 2 photos and it's going into a system, 1 minute per listing and photos is very solid. That's a different kind of, but then you only make $1 an item or less. So you have to crank. Media is very difficult, low volume. I don't even know if it works because it's just, what if you list 60 items and only 2 sell? You're in trouble. You have 58 items just sitting there. Franklin has an ASP of $13. That's excellent. But I think reselling is physical, personally. Who here thinks it's not physical? You have to be in better shape. I tried to do like a reseller fitness thing. It was so freaking unpopular. Oh my God. We got like 2 views. I was just trying to think like, at least like do some stretching every day, drink some water, go to bed earlier. But that's not you. The current version of you is a hot pile of garbage. Me too. I'm okay with that. Okay, it just be better. That saying from Maya Angelou really rocked me. It was do the best you can until you know better and then do better. That's all you can do. And the alter ego thing was started by Todd Herman. And that guy coached Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan and Cristiano Ronaldo, all the greats. He teaches them to be unbreakable, or Taylor said anti-fragile last night, which I've never heard somebody say that word out loud. That sounds weird. But basically, so being resilient, you have to be some kind of, I don't know, person on a mission to accomplish that.
You know, part of his explanation last night with the anti-fragile didn't really include the person, because it's supposed to be when you're anti-fragile, things that come up and break you down make you stronger and thing. The same thing as like lifting weights. Like it breaks down the muscle and makes it weaker for that moment, but when it comes back, it's stronger.
Yeah. I think that's exactly right. It's a muscle, right? You just develop it over time. But I'm telling you guys, the person that you want to be is not the person that you are right now. That's okay. I'm really glad Jonah said that. Obviously, I can't do it in a year. I just started. That makes total sense because you can't. I would never it's very, very hard to just start something you've never done before and knock it out of the park. Just takes time. And I don't know if you guys agree with this or not, but sometimes people, like Beth is saying, she learned from a coach to put on her fighting face to accomplish a hard thing. If you guys ever watched anybody before they're about to perform something really hard, they're not on the phone, they're not talking to a friend, they're 100% focused. Sometimes they have headphones on to trigger this sequence of things, but they're very, very, very focused before you try to do a hard thing.
So in the 80s, in the gyms, there was a lot of people slapping each other and yelling at each other and stuff like that, right? And there used to be a lot of jokes and side comments made about that. And they actually found out that primes your nervous system to get ready for action. So when we're doing the stuff we want to do intensive, we have to prime ourselves whole body and mind into getting into it. I think that's what part of it, and getting the alter ego and understanding of getting into that mode and shutting everything out, that it's not just your mind and not just your body, but it's everything encompassed into getting that done. I think that's why, especially when we focus on putting on a timer or video recording ourselves, we get so much more done than we do on a regular point because everything is involved in it.
I'm going to read a couple comments and then we'll take some questions. Lisa says, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Robert is implementing burpees while taking pictures. Ideally, you could do your burpees after your pictures or right before your pictures, because that would interrupt the process. But I love that habit stacking. And I guess I don't care if you want to do one photo, one burpee, one photo, one burpee. That would be awesome. But anybody that can do 10 burpees, you're a rock star. That's awesome.
The oxygen would help your activity though. The extra oxygen in your system keep you more alert. You did it in between.
Or what do you think, Matt? Would you do 10 before, after, one in between?
I mean, I think I would, if it was me, I would do it to start, and then if I start to hit like if I'm bottoming out, losing focus. But it's walking and doing walking and talking. You're a little bit more alert or learning if your oxygen levels high, and that's a big thing that Tony Robbins does.
That's true. Julie says a quote that has helped her stay focused is, if you commit to nothing, you'll be distracted by everything. That makes sense to me. If you don't have a goal, then pretty much your day is ruined as soon as somebody talks to you. Paul says Cicero is the one who came up with the alter ego. Thank you, Paul. Obviously, Todd Herman did not come up with it since he's born in this century. So yeah, I love it. The alter ego makes sense to me. And what's so good about being yourself anyway? I hate that advice. It's like when you go on your first date, are you yourself? No. You dress up, you go somewhere you've never been, you say things you've never said. That's nothing. That's not, you're trying to do good. It doesn't work. You gotta try to be the best version of yourself, which is different. Matt says you learn what not to do when you're learning what to do. That's true. Patik says, are you in this model, are we taking lower offers? No. Ideally, you're only finding $20 profit items and finding one per store minimum. So hopefully, Patik, in the 2 hours you're at that store, you're able to find at least one $20 profit item. If not, then you need to improve your Rolodex. And yeah, Kristen's mentioning the Mel Robbins book, which I love that Mel Robbins book, talking about high-fiving and how teams that high-five, they kick ass. So everyone at home giving you a high five right now. And the thing is, it doesn't work unless you can see yourself doing it, because You need to associate the positive activity with yourself. Sounds corny, but I totally believe that would work. If you wake up and high five yourself in the mirror, you're associating high five with yourself. Is there anyone that associates a high five with something negative? Hopefully not, but you need to train yourself that you can do it. Create that self-belief. Most people listening right now probably do not believe in themselves. So let me give you the energy and the power to do it. Okay. You guys ready? And I'll pass it to Franklin and Beth. I want to give you the motivation right now to create a schedule that requires no motivation. Right? I don't want you to have to feel like, let me hype myself up, start my listing process. That's way too hard. Let's like set it up so when you get to work, the photos are ready to go. Take the photos, list, ship. You're like, oh, what happened? You didn't even know it, but you knocked out your 30 listings. Didn't even know what happened. You're back at home watching Netflix. Let's go, Beth, then Franklin.
No, I'm good. What you just said, like, move me on, like, don't be motivated. I mean, you don't need to hype yourself up. I mean, it's like,
well, you have to set it up so you don't have to hype yourself up.
Right. I mean, like, I did two really hard things in my life. I'll say that. And the second one was run a half marathon because I am not a runner. Yeah. And I did it to deal with the diagnosis of my cousin's wife with a brain tumor and my daughter with an autoimmune disease that was potentially life-threatening. And I could do nothing to help them. So it was an outlet and it was just to prove something. But I kept telling myself, if my child was at the end of the race and by getting there, I could save her life, I could do it. And I did it, and not a runner. And I'm sure that, so it's like, if I somehow perceive this as life or death, then I could do it. So it's like, what gets in my way? And I hear what you're saying is it's like a bunch of junk gets in my way. Disorganization will destroy the most successful athlete, the most successful person. So that's what the schedule thing is about, right?
Yeah, and Matt is saying that is a version of hyping yourself up, and Brian is saying use motivation to start a new habit. Once you have a habit, the motivation is unnecessary. It's like I've been doing this call since 2017. I don't need motivation to do it. I do not hype myself up before the call. I don't even do my hair. I just turn it on and we get going. And we try to talk about something productive for an hour. Franklin?
But yeah, just about motivation. You're never going to be motivated all the time. No. So if you're depending on motivation to get you through, then yeah, it's just not going to work. But I just wanted to say something earlier when you were talking about like focus, being focused, because I heard this as an example yesterday from somebody talking about the same subject. Have you ever seen a glass blower working? If they slip up, I mean, they're going to blow something up. They're going to get burned. They're going to do whatever. You don't see them blowing glass, talking on the phone, or blowing glass and multitasking, drinking coffee and social media. So yeah, I mean, I just thought that was a good example to kind of paint the picture of why it's important to be focused on what you're doing. But that was it. I just wanted to comment that example.
Yeah, every single thing that you see somebody performing at a high level, they are 100% focused. And I think that is also not reality. Okay, so when I had 4 people from the group come earlier this month to watch me list, I got interrupted 100 times. People would be like, why did you do this? Why did you take this photo? My worker needed something. I had to use the bathroom. I had to order lunch. I ordered lunch to the wrong location. I had to drive 40 minutes to go pick up the food from my house because I didn't order it to the warehouse. In the middle of the meetup, I took 40 minutes to go drive and come back. Like it was completely unorganized. The thing is, I can get back to task immediately. And I don't want to be an embarrassment to the group. Like, why talk about this for 5 years and I can't even list? And also, I never do the minimum. Like, my goal was 30, but I cleaned 40 shoes, photographed 36 shoes. One ended up being a pair of boots with a hole in it. And then listed 35. And then of those 35 items, I think 28 have sold already this month. So I should have a 100% sell-through rate. And I know some of the items suck. So I bought a shoe not knowing that red marks are a sign of mold. Could be mold. So like, I just didn't, I think it makes sense because in the shower, sometimes the mold is red. If you just moisture mold is different. So it's not necessarily black or green or white. It could be red, but I took that one out of my store because I didn't realize that could be that. And I don't want to sell health hazard, but like, I'm not expecting it to be perfect. I just started. You get what you get in the beginning. So I don't think it's possible to not be interrupted. Try having a conversation with 4 people while you take photos and clean and list and get interrupted and order lunch and order it to the wrong location and make sure people are enjoying their donuts while they watch you do it. Being a good host is hard. Shout out to Taylor for bringing me a kettlebell. That's actually really nice. He brought me, I think, a 35-pound kettlebell. So now I'm going to do it when I walk in and out of the door. I think it's called a kettlebell swing. It's pretty good. It's like a pretty good exercise and there's no impact, which is like a nice thing. Also, I'm using it as this may sound silly, but I'm using it as my doorstop. So like, I already pick it up to prop the door open, might as well do some kettlebell swings. Sarah says, Sarah is recommending the book, The Checklist Manifesto, which I love. And just the concept of like a doctor or a nurse or, let me relate it back to the group for a moment. On Mondays, I want to make sure everyone is getting closer to their goal. How many listings up, how many sold, how much average profit. And you go through a checklist of how to figure that all out. When we were having our second baby, the nurse had this long checklist of things that she needed to check before we left, like hearing test and did he get these kinds of shots and do we test this and test that and all this long list. And they actually have that list and that's how they're able to do it, perform it really well. And there's been billions of babies and most of the time it works out. Same thing with reselling. You need a list of things to do. If you're like, every day I do some customer service, I do some photos, I do some listing, I do some shopping, I can guarantee you're not successful. It doesn't look like that. No one accidentally has 300,000 in sales. This is the part that kind of sucks. You can kind of accidentally have $100,000 a year in sales if you just work a lot. Just like no specific plan, get to work and just try for 14 hours a day. You could probably gross 100K, but net 100K, I don't think so. Oh, we have some questions. Oh, Max first and then Paul.
So I think, and a lot of my friends like this, sometimes people don't make a schedule because they think of more of as a work schedule.
Yep.
Only putting the crappy stuff in.
Yep.
Versus a way to balance out your life so you can have more fun with the fun stuff. So I think when we're looking at schedules, we should look at how we can optimize ourselves to make more time for the stuff we actually want to do. And the second thing is, I'm not really sure how to do it. Like some tips. I think that kettlebell thing you gave an example was a good one of how to build a schedule without motivation. Because I think I'm good at building a schedule from the start, but I don't think I'm good with it being flexible and how to build out that motivation. I've been doing a little bit with the habit stack and like you said with the kettlebell thing, but if you have any more tips on that, I would greatly appreciate it.
My whole day is a habit stack. Wake up. I actually realized that I'm not just laying in bed in the morning. I do like check my email and stuff before I get out of bed, which is not a good habit, but I wake up, go to the gym, come here, do this call, right? I have to send one text to my worker to outline her day. Guys, maybe this is interesting, right? So around this time every day, I text my worker, the worker that opens, what her day looks like. Okay, so when she gets to work in half an hour from now, she turns on the light and does her day like I've already planned for her. And she's only frustrated when I don't have a plan for her. And she's like, bro, what kind of boss are you? I don't even know what I'm doing here. You're just paying me to walk around. Get it together. So send her a text. She knows what to do. And guess what? Most of the time, it's the exact same list. It's not like I have to invent some brand new thing for her to do every day. Just part of the routine. Then play with my babies, or something called 10-minute miracle. Try to spend 10 minutes with your wife, 10 minutes with your kid individually, fully focused, no phone. Try to learn something, do something with them. So do that with Natalie, Henry, wife, do the best I can. Now we're doing a new schedule. My wife wants to get out of the house, so she's driving Natalie to childcare while I take care of the newborn. So now I get to work a little bit later. So I lost about half an hour of my workday from that, but that's reality. So get to spend time learning, and I'm learning right now more techniques to get him to go to sleep, because he is now 5 weeks old, and the goal is 5 weeks, 5 hours of sleep, 6 weeks, 6 hours of sleep, 7 weeks, 7 hours of sleep, all the way up to 10 to 12 hours of sleep for your baby. So we're trying to follow that schedule. I'm learning the different techniques to soothe him, so he'll go to sleep without a pacifier and without me, and learning how to put himself to sleep so that I don't have to put him to sleep every day, which is very hard. So I'm learning that skill in the morning. Drive to work. I told you guys, I don't even know how I get there in the morning, because they go the same way every time. I even know which way to swerve out of the potholes along the way. Get there, go inside. I take the garbage out when I first get there, because I feel a little bit like a janitor, because I'm the one that does that. So get to work. There's 4 garbage cans. Take those all out. For some reason, I kind of obsessively check my electricity bill, because it's expensive now. My electricity bill is like almost $400 a month now. So like I'm like looking to see what happened and why is our bill sometimes $5 and sometimes $11. So trying to figure that out. Load everything into my car if there was any shipping that didn't go out the night before. Go set up all of the auctions. Then I have to think about how to do YouTube videos. Then in between all of this, I've never missed the doctor's appointments for my kid ever. I've gone to all of them. And that's a lot. There's so many of them. In the beginning, my wife was having problems with lactation. So we went to like 10 different people trying to figure it out, because she's like, I am figuring this out. Other people can do it. I can do it. And of course, it sucks when you're bleeding and your kid won't latch correctly. And there's like all these things that could happen, but like, we're in it to win it. So do that, get interrupted all day. I enjoy starting all the calls for the group. And I do my best to listen to the calls that I can, because they're different. Trying to integrate some kettlebell swings into the day now while I'm there. I have a pull-up bar at work that I'm working on as well. Then now, one thing I'm really working on is spending time learning what sells for more money. And I was on a record in the beginning of the podcast saying that $20 was a home run. My entire business model was based on $10 profit. But now I know that $20 could be your baseline. It just takes longer. And Patik was saying, or asking, should you take lower offers? You don't have to. You can accept offers that match whatever your estimated or like the minimum.
Chris, I hate to interrupt you, but we need to get Sally off camera.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Juanita. Paul?
Yeah, how you doing, Chris?
What's going on? Your hand is raised.
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound good.
Okay, cool. Hey, what I mentioned Cicero because I should have asked it in a question. What I meant was that philosopher who came up with that, he was struggling because he was saying we all have an other self. And so I was listening to an interview with LeBron James, and he was saying when he went to Miami to play that he got into this alter ego thing where he had to be kind of a different person at crunch time in order to get them over the hump, because he almost seemed to be like not the best player when it counted the most. His problem though was getting out of that ego so that he was himself when he needed to be. So my question to you is, I have a similar thing. Obviously, I'm not LeBron, but I'm hyper focused when it comes to certain areas. But even though I'll leave my phone at home if I go somewhere with my kids, or I'll leave my phone here when I go out with my girl. But I'm still thinking about it. And even though I'm not saying it and I'm doing all the right things, like my girl says, she's like, hey, I know you're still thinking about this eBay thing over here, or this thing over here. How do you completely disconnect yourself from, say, business or the workouts or all that stuff when you're in your relationship, like with your girl, without thinking, oh man, I could have spent 2 more hours at the thrift, or this idea? Like, how do you stay engaged in those relationships without like floating off into all the other stuff that you're doing? And that's why I said Cicero, because that was the eternal struggle. And I was wondering what your thoughts are.
I think it's impossible if you have your phone out. So if you're with somebody else, put your phone away or leave it in the car, in your drawer before you start hanging out with your family. And then you have to be present and engaged in what they want. So like I told you guys that I was doing random nice things for my wife and she didn't notice. That's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to ask them what they need and then provide that. So you can't be focused on your business when you're worried about what the people you're hanging out with need. It's selfish to hang out with your family and think about your business. What is the point of hanging out with them? Just stay at work. It's
That's
actually,
what I mean.
It's actually more annoying. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry to interrupt. That's what I mean. I'm saying, like, I leave my phone at home. I try to turn everything off. I'm saying, my girl is saying, you're doing all of the things I need you to do, but I know you're thinking about it. So how do you disconnect your mind from it?
Think
even
about
though
her.
you're playing the role.
Think about her. That's how you do it.
Gotcha.
Like when I'm hanging out with Natalie in the morning, here's an example. I'll give you an example. So I have a million things going on. Well, how do I focus on the person? I just think about what does the person I'm hanging out with want to do, right? So you can ask them, what is it that you want to do? And they will tell you. So yesterday, I asked my 2-year-old what she wanted to do. I'll show you what she wanted to do. Let's see. Okay. Yesterday, I said, what do you want to do? She said, I want to drive a car. So I said, okay. So we went out to the car and she loves the car.
You go zoom, zoom. Zoom, zoom, beep, beep.
So we played in the car for 10 minutes. I didn't bring my phone or think about my business. And right. But like I was like trying to like make the sounds that those buttons do and show her like you don't get to sit in the front, you get to sit in the back. And she's like, okay, but I want to drive. And I'm like, you can drive, just not right now. Like but that's, you just care about the person that you're with. It's so annoying. It's called what's it called? It's called, it was the word of the year. It's when you're on your phone, when you're supposed to be with your family, you're thinking about your business. There's a new word. It's called pizzled. It means puzzled and pissed. That's what your family is like when you're thinking about your business when you're with them. It's negative. It's better you stay at work. Honestly, it's better you stay at work and come back and be present than be half-assing it with your family. It doesn't work. I know from experience. It's really hard to turn off. Especially, okay, get how crazy this is. When your time starts being worth a lot of money, like hundreds of dollars an hour, which is what's going to happen. Everyone in this group, we're talking about 100K. That means that your time is worth $50 an hour. That means when you go out with your friend to get tacos, that costs $50 of your time. Right? So you start thinking, what's worth it and what's worth it? And eventually you get to the point where you choose your family over that. It's more important to you. See, Juanita says if she's talking to her husband, he has his phone out. She walks away. That makes sense. I don't think it counts. So it's really hard because your business is a living, breathing thing. It's just that That's why the 10-minute miracle is important. 10 minutes a day, you can't spend 10 minutes a day with your kid. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't take very long to make a really good impression. My wife was like, she might remember that memory forever of her playing in the car. It took 10 minutes. And I remember Melinda Gates said that Bill Gates drove his kids to school. Guys, that guy's time's worth $100,000 an hour. He drove his kids to school. And like the rich private school that he went to or whatever, like Melinda said that it basically made every other dad pissed because they're like, the moms could say, if Bill Gates can drive his kid to school, so can you. You're not so busy that you can't do that. That guy's busier than you. He's busier and way more important than you. He can drive his kid to school, so can you. So I think if you are asking the other person what they want, that's so much different than like, oh, I'm going to read you a story right now. And they're like, oh, I don't really want to do that right now. So then is it even hanging out with them? It's not what they want to do. Yeah, you have to figure out their love language. Everybody wants something different. Your business, like your business wants you to list quality items into your store consistently. Honestly, I think of thinking of your business like a person really does help. Really does help. Like when I said you had to feed your baby every day, that makes sense to people. But for some reason, listing every day doesn't make sense. Yeah, I have to go. So I take care of the baby this morning. We're gonna switch to beginner call. Thank you everybody on YouTube.